You're listening to 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. In case you just woke up or just tuned in, welcome. My name is Ryan Trick, as I said, and this is the Morning Buzz. Today is a beautiful, and by beautiful, I mean rainy, cloudy, muggy, and very wet October 12th. However, it's going to be a great day. Isn't that right, Amanda?
Of course.
Always. We're going to have a good show. Joined with me today is, of course, Amanda Marino, and our newscaster is
Kyle Pepitone.
Kyle. It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back. It's been quite a weird gap with a week off.
And I am still so fairly disturbed by your, I believe you called it the Eyes of Corn.
That is correct.
Picture. Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard name to forget because it's both a very disturbing title and a bad pun, and I love it all the more.
Thank you.
You want to see Kyle's awesome background? We are currently live on Facebook, or if you are watching this in the future, no, we're not live because you're watching a recording. Please don't get mad at me. That said, once again.
Wait, and then Kyle, real quick, you drew that, right?
Not drew it. I photoshopped it from pictures
That's
I
cool.
found on the
That's
internet, stuff like that.
That's awesome.
It is quite entertaining. Perhaps we will see more works from the one and only Kyle Pepitone.
Yeah, I don't have any more Halloween background, so I'm kind of just recycling this one, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll help you brainstorm some ideas, dude. What about that? A brainstorm? Isn't that from Shark Boy and Lava Girl though?
Something like that.
Yeah,
I think
it starts
so,
raining brains or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's weird. We're getting off topic, but hey, isn't that the whole point of the Morning Buzz? Just kidding. The whole point is to talk the latest in news and entertainment, and go on some rants. But we'll get into that later. Isn't that right, Amanda?
Of course. We
so
always do.
we got a fun show. We're gonna be talking about Trump. Amanda's got some stories, rants
Of
to
course.
go on. It'll be a time, and of course, it is spooky, scary season. So we'll be talking about
aren't the
trick-or-treating.
news always spooky, scary?
It's true. The news recently has been quite spooky, scary. It has been a spooky, scary year.
Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. So, without further ado, we're gonna throw it to Kyle Pepitone. Kyle, tell me what's going on in the world.
Well, let's take a look. So, in national news, just yesterday, President Donald Trump prepares his return to the campaign after being infected by the coronavirus several weeks ago. AP News reports that the president intends to be traveling across the country almost every day for the rest of the campaign period, starting with Florida today. On Sunday, Trump tweeted that he got, quote, total and complete sign-off from the White House doctors, end quote, to begin his campaign again. In more local New Jersey news, once again over the weekend, an all-female group of skydivers celebrated 100 years of women's suffrage. NJ 101.5 says the Highlight Pro skydiving team performed an aerial dismount show to celebrate the 100th anniversary of women's voting rights and to encourage people to vote on November 3rd for the presidential election. The display lasted about 6 to 7 minutes over the Alice Paul Institute. And in good news across the seas, although residents of the Rosevale Care Home in York, England were unable to have their relatives visit during the COVID-19 pandemic, they were still super pleased with a surprise visit from a miniature horse, or a pony. The lifestyle coordinator of the senior home, Sarah Fern, said that different animals come in every month and helps many residents, quote, to express themselves in ways they probably wouldn't otherwise, end quote, especially for the residents who have dementia. The Good News Network also reports that the home hasn't had a single case of coronavirus during the whole pandemic. And in weather news, here in Manalapan, let's take a quick look. It is currently 54 degrees and raining. That is correct. With a high of 57, a low of 54. A sunrise of 7:06 yet, so it's still pretty dark. Oh, wait, no, that's an hour. Sorry. A sunset at 6:21 p.m. Humidity 95 and a 70% chance of rain, or if you look at it right now, a 100% chance of rain.
Yeah, there's a 70% chance that it is currently raining.
It's already that was maybe the best weathercast ever.
I forgot what time it was.
No, but it's funny funny because for anyone that's not watching, like Kyle actually just like looked
You
to
can
see if it was actually raining.
you can
Like,
see that little beat that he had for you audio listeners of him saying like, yeah, is it raining? Yeah, it's raining. With
It's
him
raining.
legitimately turning his head, looking out the window, and confirming. Yeah, there is in fact a well, you see here in Montclair,
It's
there's
also raining.
there's an 80% chance that it's currently
in the studio. There's no windows, so
it's
we
true.
can,
So we don't know. According to
maybe it
my
already stopped.
according to the fact that I think my hair is still wet, I'm pretty sure it's still raining.
You know, on the walk to the studio, it was raining, so
was.
I'm gonna have to say it was probably still raining out.
Exactly. And here, and of course, Montclair, high 55, low 54. This is the kind of fall weather I'm talking about, minus the rain. Get
yeah, I
the
was
rain
gonna
out of
say,
here.
get the rain out of here.
Here's my quick 2 cents before we get into some fun stuff. You know, here's the thing with the rain. If it's gonna rain, let it be warm out. I don't like the cold rain because if it's cold and raining, just snow.
Yeah.
I don't know that much.
How?
Because, like, unless it's enough to get you off from school, like, you know what I mean? Like a day off from school. And I don't think that's going to happen anymore because you got virtual. So,
It's true.
so like, you're never actually going to have a day off from school anymore.
That could be a whole conversation in on
It
itself.
could,
Yeah.
but like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Unless it's like a ton of snow where you can go like sledding or something. If it's just like an inch or two, it's boring.
Yeah. All right. You know.
Well, even if it does snow, you have to have the right geography to
I will
sled.
say, since I was a kid, I've always wanted a white Christmas. I've always wanted it to snow on Christmas.
Yeah.
But you know,
that'd be cool.
I think it did one year, but it wasn't like enough. It needs to be like a good like.
You like
giant
it like a
snowstorm.
real like just completely dumping snow out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now that I can agree with.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Anyways, we're gonna get into it a little bit. So for 2 very important things. So
Some housekeeping, I would say.
some housekeeping before
Yes.
we jump into our stories. So the first and foremost, Mark Weiss. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but if you've ever been to an awesome rock concert, not like Justin Bieber pop stuff.
Ew.
No, I'm talking like rock legends.
Yes,
Like
like-
from the 80s.
Yeah, like Ozzy Osbourne, Van
Aerosmith,
Halen, like
the Stones,
Mhm.
Kiss. Yeah, all these rock legends. If you've ever been to one of their concerts, you've probably seen Mr. Mark Weiss lurking around. Mark Weiss is an 80s rock and roll photographer, and he has a new book out. And because he has a new book out, we got the chance to interview him. We will be promoting this interview leading up to it next week, where we will air it. But he also has a show going on right now.
Mhm.
The
that he
show-
actually talked about in the interview.
yeah,
with
that
us.
he goes into it more in the interview. And the show is basically featuring like his
a lot
work
of his artwork, his cameras, a lot of just seeing all
So-
about him.
and just like some fun stuff. And apparently he's there like every Friday too. So the show is going on until November 3rd.
Mhm.
More information on that coming up. But yeah, I'm excited to air the interview.
We're just like, yeah, we're very excited to air the interview, but also just give you a heads up if you're interested.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
that will probably be airing exactly 1 week from now on the Morning Buzz
stay
here
tuned.
on the Monday edition. Yeah, so make sure you stay tuned. And that said, speaking of, I don't know, college radio, I guess, because we're on air on college radio. We do a lot of cool things here, in case you didn't know, and not just here at the Morning Buzz, but
Yeah.
all of the teams here at WMSC do a whole heck of a lot of really awesome, cool stuff.
A lot of programming, a lot of production work, a lot of things. Obviously,
Exactly.
it's just more than just the buzz where we do these interviews and we bring you shows.
It's more than
through-
just talking into a microphone.
It is.
know.
There's a lot of students. Ryan, how many students do you think are involved at the station here?
You know, honestly, I do not know. I know that just for the Buzz specifically, we manage a team of well
Like,
over 20.
Like I would say 30, 35.
Yeah,
Just the buzz. Just the buzz, because there's a lot of people that
That's
help in
just
the background.
that's just for us. There's office team, there's production team, there's
So many people that
programming.
make radio what it is here at WMSC. Like,
yeah. And the little fun fact, you know, so some college stations do like pay their student management team members, or they give
actually,
like
we're just getting
stipends or
word
whatever.
that it's actually 370 members That
370
is a word
members.
from our general manager, Annabella Poland.
There we go. Okay, so we are at 370 members. That's a lot of
That's a lot of kids.
people
A lot of people that
who keep this
find-
station running.
Yes, and that find radio what they like to do in
Exactly.
some sense, that they want to be here and spend their days doing radio. And WMSC has given that opportunity to a lot of college students, present, past, and hopefully more in the future. And so, Ryan,
Yeah. So
we were kind of going back and forth, and then you just you ditched me.
so like we said, we do a lot of awesome stuff here at WMSC, and a lot of people keep this radio station running literally just for the love of it. So we are actually currently raising money for a scholarship,
Mhm.
I believe.
Scholarship fund.
Yeah, so for an awesome scholarship fund.
And you're one of the ambassadors.
I
for it,
am one
aren't
of the
you? Yeah.
ambassadors, actually. So the way the scholarship fund works, it's kind of like a GoFundMe page.
Mhm.
If you are a fan of college radio, you're a fan of what we do here, or I don't know, you just are like somebody's rich uncle with a bunch of money that you can throw away, and you are interested in donating, I believe you can head on over. You can find our stuff on, what is it? WMSCradio.com is our website.
Or socials.
Yeah, and we're posting it all over our socials too at WMSC.
And I believe you
on
could
Twitter
you
and
could
everything.
find it on Ryan's Twitter as well, because he's been sharing
It's
about
true. I think I pinned a tweet. I might not have, because I'm really bad at Twitter. If I haven't pinned the tweet, I'll check after the show and pin it at Ryan the Trick. Thank you for the social shout
Yes,
out,
there you
Amanda.
go.
Also, I think Amanda will retweet it once I pin it.
Yeah, there you go. So it's a Marino _123. I think, I don't know how Twitter works
Something
either.
like that. I
But
don't know.
yeah, it's
For
a
media
really
people,
great
we're
thing.
bad
I
at
mean,
Twitter.
a lot of people really forget that, like, we wouldn't be able to do what we do here without college radio, and WMSC has really helped us grow. I know we all have our stories of why college radio means a lot to us, and I think we've told you this, any listeners out there, multiple times, that we don't get paid to be here. We do this
We do it because we love it.
We do it because we love it on a volunteer basis. Me and Ryan both drive up to the station every Monday just because we like doing it. We like being on air. We like talking to you guys out there. So if you're interested,
That's
socials,
where you can
website,
find out
yeah.
socials and everything. And it really is for a good cause. It basically goes out to some of the people, like, way cooler than Amanda and I. Some of the people who are, doing some awesome stuff.
Mhm, for sure.
And it's kind of, I don't know how it's like voted on or whatnot. That's above my pay grade. Do you get it? Because we don't get paid. So everything's above my pay grade. That's a really in-depth joke
It
for you
also
listeners.
gives us an opportunity to kind of grow with industry training, and that is vital to, like, our education process here through Montclair.
Yeah.
And it's just really important because a lot of other stations don't really are not running right now. So it's really helping us, like, stay afloat.
Yeah, exactly. And if you're like, yo, I like the sound of becoming an ambassador, Ryan, how on earth do I do that? Well, radio listener who I just made up, you can definitely become an ambassador. Basically, all that means is you get, like, your own special, like, little link thing that you can share with people. And they, you don't get anything for it other than, like, the pride of saying, like, hey, I raised this much money to help WMSC. And we at WMSC are like, thank you so much, in a very dramatic way with, like, music in the background or something. But that said, thank you for everybody who continues to support us, even not financially, just by listening.
Mhm.
Gives us a reason to get up in the morning and do a show for you, which
Your support matters.
we are finally going to get into. So, first and foremost, it wouldn't be a news day without
Hearing something from the White House.
hearing
Yeah,
something from the White House. I was going to make a joke, but I will bite my tongue.
you should.
So Trump has made his first public appearance since leaving Walter Reed this weekend.
Well, Walter Reed was last weekend, but, like, since
His
the COVID
made his
diagnosis,
first appearance this weekend.
Since the COVID diagnosis, this
Yeah.
is his first public appearance. Was at the White House on Saturday for a rally, which a lot of people are going to question in a sense, because no political event should ever be happening on the White House premises, whether you're conservative or whether you're liberal. Like it's like a known thing that nobody really ever has political events for your
At the-
campaign
yeah.
at the White House. That's just a thing.
Yeah. Also, before we get into really any of this, the first and foremost fact that we should throw out there. So the White House,
Actually,
for
the
whatever
the
reason-
first thing we should mention is if any opinions happen on this show.
oh yeah, the opinions
There-
of the thank you. The opinions of the host reflect just that. They are opinions of the host and do not reflect that of the station. That
There
said,
you
this is a
go.
fact. The White House has not made public the results of President Trump's latest COVID test, which he claims he took on Friday.
Also, we also still don't know at this point when his last negative his last negative test before his diagnosis was. At this point we still don't know that.
Yeah.
So technically he could have had coronavirus 3 weeks ago for all we know. But
That's just
We don't know.
speculation. Yeah,
We
so
don't
we
know.
don't know. So, anyways, he gave a short speech delivered from the Blue Room balcony overlooking the South Lawn,
Mhm.
and it was the first time he had been seen in public since leaving the hospital on Monday. Now, in classic Trump fashion, he emerged wearing a white surgical mask, but decided to peel it off as he began his remarks.
now the other thing that's interesting about this, I don't know if I'm gonna pull up a picture if I can from said rally campaign. It's been going around now that was actually all the people that attended were paid. They were supplied housing for the weekend and were paid to show up in their support. And when I pull up a picture for you, you'll see that they all were wearing the same hats and same shirts to show their support. You could say what you want about that. I have my own views. I'm gonna bite my tongue too. But Ryan, you take over. Kyle,
Well,
what are your thoughts on this rally?
Yeah,
Actually,
Kyle, what are you thinking about this?
Personally, I didn't know that sorry, I didn't know that no president ever had a rally on the White House lawn. That's a
No,
new
You're not
fact
really,
to
like,
me.
kind of
It's
frowned upon,
weird. You're not really
honestly.
supposed to.
Yeah, I can see why. It seems it's almost
because
like
it
a
should
home
be like
field
it should
advantage.
almost be like
Yeah,
it
exactly.
should be
It's
like
a
a
home
place
field
where it's like
advantage thing.
this is like I don't want to say it's just like a sacred place in a sense. It's like a place that in history that should remain not neutral because there obviously somebody takes a side, but it's almost like it should be not a
Yeah.
campaign
Yeah.
ground.
And
for any
also,
side.
like Kyle said, it kind of gives this, I guess as a way to compare, almost like a feeling of like a home field advantage.
Yeah.
It's weird. So the interesting thing that I found actually was, President Trump is known for his shall we say grandiose or bombastic perhaps speeches, very long and dramatic, Shakespearean, you might even call them. Not really.
I'm gonna pull up a
But
picture for you.
so the
guys
White
while
House
we're doing
officials
this,
said the
so-
president would speak for about 30 minutes, but he actually only kept his remarks to 18 minutes in total. So I don't know. And this, so for those of you who are watching on Facebook or on YouTube, you see the classic, very painful image of a Trump rally where
With
people are on top of each
not
other.
wearing masks.
And hold on, no, I see
You see one
I see
mask.
two. There are two two people wearing masks in this picture out of a crowd of, I'd say, somewhere between 5 and over
I
500.
also do want to note he specifically going back to the thing about being paid people. He actually paid Black and Latino people specifically to look like he has a following in that crowd. But my mind is going
That's
to
just weird.
this is where the funding is going of a campaign too, and that's my question about it too.
That just seems like poor campaigning strategy.
And there was I think there was 500 people there, and there wasn't even that's not even a lot of if you wanted more people, you could get more. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
just proving to me you're paying for people to be there, and they.
Well, if we look back, this isn't necessarily the first time
Mhm.
we've seen him very much try and focus on his image of his rallies. We had that whole thing a while back where people from TikTok and other social media platforms were buying out, or not really buying out, but reserving tickets for rallies for Trump rallies and then just not showing up. So we had the whole thing where a lot of the coverage that he was releasing only showed pictures of groups of people that he was standing kind of in front of, or like very weirdly angled shots. So it looked like the place was full. So this isn't necessarily the first time Trump is known for caring about his appearance. Whether no matter what side you fall on, just objectively speaking, that's something you can see.
So my question too is so I've seen it actually a few times because I'm an actor on some of these acting websites. They'll actually come up would say, here, $12 an hour, come be part of a campaign. And that's not made up. That's like something that's real, that people will actually like pay for you to. And I'm not saying that this is probably the first time either. I'm sure this has been for political candidates for years.
This is definitely
but
not
it's
the
like,
first time.
it's just an interesting idea that, I don't know. Here, I also have another picture for you all. That was a different angle.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. So basically the image is literally of this huge crowd right outside the front of the classic like white, I don't know,
White
House like the classic White House lawn that everybody knows, with the big like semicircle of pillars and everything.
It's actually, I'm gonna make a joke to all my theater peeps out there. A lot of people in my newsfeed, at least, that are theater fans, had to compare this to Eva Perón from the musical Evita, because I'm gonna pull up a picture and she does the same thing of standing over a crowd of people saying, "Don't cry for me, Argentina." It kind of it reminds me a lot of that, and it's a lot of my friends were also reminded of that. So I'm gonna pull up a picture to see if it reminds you, listeners out there and viewers, of the same thing. Obviously, listeners, you can't see, but
just listen hard enough and you can hear the picture. So now I do want to point out something that I find interesting about this, and I will not necessarily play devil's advocate, but play both sides at the same time. So a lot of campaigning really is just PR. Like, let's be honest, it's about image. So the fact that Trump, it does care so much about his image, like as memeable as it is sometimes, as much as people can joke about it, it is important when it comes to a campaign. Now, maybe he takes it a little too far sometimes, but at the same time, so when you say like, oh yeah, you can get paid to come out and, stand for act like you're supporting so-and-so at a rally, that's not necessarily just Trump rallies. These are like all kinds of elections.
Yeah. And I actually said it recently, like, this is, again, my view. I honestly, I don't think I could get paid no matter who it was to go to a rally. I just have no interest in like either side. Like, no matter if it was a candidate I liked or not, like I have no interest in going. Even if it wasn't COVID, I don't know. Like, I guess I don't find an interest in going. I feel like I can get my facts and what was said through watching a 5-minute YouTube video, you know what I mean? Instead of just sitting there at a rally. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm not into politics that much, but I guess I don't feel the need to go.
Yeah. Now, Kyle, I got a question for you.
Yes.
Somebody said, Kyle, you don't like, say, without getting into which side you fall on, because we'll try and stay relatively objective here. So if somebody walked up to you and said, Kyle Pepitone, we like your face and we want your face supporting so-and-so candidate at this rally, we'll pay you $12 an hour, but that candidate was not the one you were voting for, would you go?
Well, I have to start off by saying that would be the first time ever somebody came up to me and said, I like your face. So right there, I'm pretty flattered. But $12 an hour to support, well, I'm not really caught up. How long would a rally be? Like, how many hours would that be?
So I think that's important. I believe typical, Trump rallies, sometimes his speeches alone can last like an hour. So like 90 minutes, but say, there's, let's call it's a 2-hour rally. You get paid, we'll call it $25. They'll round up for you. $25 and maybe
okay, but here's the question for you, Kyle.
By.
Yes.
Is it in the middle of a pandemic?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I guess like you were saying, Amanda, I'm not like, I'll support a side just because it's probably like it's important, especially now more than ever. At least that's what the media tells you. But I don't care that much to actually go out, stand in a crowd.
Exactly.
And for $25, it's not even that worth it.
No, that's the difference too. But if you were getting paid, okay,
That's like a Chipotle order for me. I think I might.
If you were getting paid, all right, let's say you got paid $100 to go to the White House this weekend,
Ooh.
and you also got a hotel room because you were getting housing because that was what was included as well.
No.
It wasn't $100.
We're not talking a nice hotel room. We're talking like
it's the average. It's like it's like not a 5-star,
Like
but
a
it's not like
Super
it's not
8.
like a motel either. Like where it's like, you know what I mean? Like you're at an average hotel.
Holiday Inn
you
Express.
get a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
You get $100. You get a hotel room for the night at the not the White House, near the White House.
At the White House.
Yeah.
And we are in the middle of a global pandemic.
Would you do it?
Would you do it?
You
could bring a mask. You would be able to bring a mask. You might not be near people that will wear masks.
Yeah, knowing that Trump rallies are actually known for people not wearing masks.
The whole other people not wearing a mask, it doesn't bother me that much. If I'm wearing it, no one else is. It's still a pretty low chance that I'll get it, more than if we both weren't. But I think like to do that, I mean, just for the sightseeing, just being at the White House, regardless of who was there, I would probably go. To get $100 to see the White House in person is kind of worth it. Plus, if you have hotel paid for. At that point, I wouldn't even care who's speaking. I'd just be like, hey, I was at the White House. This is pretty cool.
I wouldn't go.
Yeah. You wouldn't go?
That's fair.
Here, as someone who has lived in Maryland, been to DC before, and has gone to see the White House, I will admit, I haven't been obviously into the White House, but I've driven past it, whatever, you see it. It's pretty cool looking. I will admit it is pretty cool looking. I don't know if I would risk my own health to go see it. Because as cool looking as it is,
in the middle of a global pandemic, I feel like that would be a different story to see. Like, but even still, like I don't know. Like I mean, it's hard because we're in a global pandemic.
I would take the $100 if we weren't in the middle of a global pandemic. I'll be totally honest. I'd take the $100 in the hotel room, and I would just sit at the rally like on my Nintendo Switch.
No, I was
something.
gonna say like, what if I like actually took
phone.
the $100, went to the rally, but actually stood in the back and like just. Was like, because I was there for 5 minutes. You said just be there.
Show up.
It's $100. I mean, if pandemic aside, who wouldn't take it?
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. We're kind of a fun little conversation over a serious topic. You know, I do think that obviously PR is very, very important when it comes to campaigning in general. My personal opinion, okay. Just my personal opinion. I feel like, one, obviously he shouldn't have a rally on the White House lawn. Like you said, Kyle, I think that's the best way to put it. It gives a weird sense of almost like a home field advantage. And two, well, no, really, that's it. That's just my biggest thing. I guess, two, the problem, and this is a problem I've always had with Trump rallies, is like, dude, we're in the middle of a pandemic. You also just got COVID. Like,
yeah, that's the other thing. Like,
don't even get me started on the whole like his tweet on, oh, we have such great medicine. Don't even get me started on that rant because I will go off.
So I'm actually gonna try to like change topic a little bit. I'm gonna say the other thing about we were saying about going to camp, like rallies and stuff in general, is you're taking a side. And even if you don't necessarily agree with that side, it's being televised, it's being pictured, it's whatever the case may be, you're going to be marked as being on that side. So that's actually going to segue into the next topic of the show, is taking a side and posting about it. And so this is something that's been on my mind a lot lately. As an entertainer and as a performer, I do a lot of making music, performing and acting, and I'm not like anywhere near a professional actor's pay grade or anything like that. But sometimes I go on sets, I make money, and like I do things like that. But recently it's been interesting with a lot of celebrities that are Hollywood actors, Hollywood actors and crew members, and then there's performers that are touring musicians, and there's athletes that are taking like a side politically on social media. And obviously it could be for either side, very either conservative or liberal. But I think it's interesting because there's a lot of back and forth on whether this is a good idea. whether these people should be saying a political opinion. Now, without me giving anything on either side, Ryan, how would you feel? Give me your favorite actor or favorite musician of all time.
I'll say, we'll go with maybe like one of my favorite actors, the national treasure, also known as Tom Holland.
Okay. Now, I have not looked into Tom Holland's recent posts or anything, but if Tom Holland posted his opinion on social media about a political candidate, either side, how would you feel?
Now, this is an interesting
And
conversation.
again, this is all our opinions,
Yeah,
not
these
of
are
the
all our
radio
opinions.
station.
If you want to
ours.
tweet us your opinion on the subject, you can always find us on Twitter at WMSC using the hashtag #MorningBuzz.
Mhm.
Or if you want to angry tweet us because you don't like our opinions, as always, I'm at Ryan the Trick, and Amanda's at @amarino _123 or something. So my weirdly personal opinion on this, and we'll continue getting more into this, but first and foremost, I do think I would see the tweet if he tweeted let's just say, I don't know Tom Holland's opinions, so I'm not even going to say like use any candidate as an example. I'll use, I don't know, throwback to when Harambe almost got voted president. So Tom Holland tweets, hashtag vote for Harambe 2020.
Okay, but that's not fair because that would be just a joke in a sense
Well,
too.
no.
Like
this is just as an example.
Okay,
Let's say
all
there's a man named Harambe running for president. Okay. Let's just, I don't want to make anybody mad.
Just as an FYI, if anybody doesn't know who Harambe is, Harambe was the gorilla that got put down at the zoo a few years back, and it was actually the year of the political election back in 2016, and 1,200 people actually voted for Harambe, a dead gorilla, to be president.
Can you imagine if he won? Anyways, so let's just say
a whole weekend at Bernie style with him.
A whole weekend at Bernie. Yeah, okay. So let's say Tom Holland, or we'll say Kanye. Kanye almost ran for president.
Okay, yeah.
So Tom Holland goes, Kanye for president 2020 on Twitter. Okay, whatever.
Hey, that's something that happened too as well. Some people are writing him in. So
people are writing him in. Please,
anyway.
Please, as a PSA, please, I highly recommend don't like actually write in just random people. As funny as it may be, this is kind of an important election in case you haven't been tuning in to like every social media outlet. But anyways, so if Tom Holland wrote, Kanye for president or whoever for president 2020, I would be in a weird position.
Mm-hmm.
So my view on this is like, okay, one, obviously they are people.
Mm-hmm.
They are the celebrities, actors, musicians. First and foremost, they are people. As weird as it may seem, because they're like on TV or releasing multi-platinum albums or whatever, they are. You're laughing when I say multi-platinum
No, I'm laughing
albums.
because our general manager, Annabelle Poland, messages us during the show to give us some facts, and she said Mickey Mouse gets 2% of the votes every year. So.
That's sick. Okay, so I'll use that as the example. So vote for Mickey 2020. Okay, so that's an incredible fact. Thank you.
Well, I love that people keep saying Mickey is gonna run the country one day anyway. So there you go.
Well, that's
a different story.
Oh boy,
day.
2025, Disney buys the White House.
Disney buys the White House.
I could write a 50-page thesis on that topic.
But
Don't
anyway,
even get me started.
To your point, because
I do need to get to my point. So I would be in a weird position because, again, celebrities first and foremost, they are people. So they have a right to post on social media, to post their opinions on topics and on facts or like political whatevers. In my opinion, I think they do have the right. At the same time, and I've said this about the president, I've said this about famous people all the time. I've had if you're a longtime listener, you know exactly where I'm about to go with this. Is at the same time, as someone who is in a spotlight, you do hold this kind of position of what I call passive influence, where people will look up to you and, be influenced by you. It's not anything you can do about it. It's just because you're famous, right? So it's a weird, it kind of puts them in a weird spot. Personally, I think it's fine to an extent.
Okay.
I think if you are let's say you're Tom Holland.
Mhm.
Again, we'll use my love for Spider-Man as an example. Say you're Tom Holland and you post, vote for, let's say he does like telling people to vote for somebody, right? Like go out and vote for this person. They're awesome. You should definitely do this, yada, yada. Goes on the whole like spiel, however many characters you're allowed on a tweet.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think that's okay. I will be honest, because again, as a famous person, you hold this passive influence,
Mhm.
But
you could almost say the same thing about not even like celebrities of like Hollywood nature, but you could say it about like other politicians endorsing people. That's been a lot of things this year
that's
where
true.
people are endorsing, you could say, I don't know, or I'm trying to think of somebody like, it'd be like if our governor came out and endorsed somebody, which
Yeah.
he hasn't at this current time.
I
But
think he's
if
gonna endorse Mickey. That's my guess.
But like that'd be like the same thing. And granted, some governors and mayors and other politicians have released who they are endorsing, but at the same time, it's almost like it's that one sense of privacy in a sense, I guess, too, that like you should be allowed to vote for who you think you want and not have the whole world judge you for it, I guess.
Yeah, that's
in a
true.
sense. But Kyle, as my question to Ryan, same thing to you. What would you do? Like, what's somebody that you like a lot? Who's somebody that you like listen to or watch a lot that you?
Let's say for the heat of the moment, currently, let's go with Brent Smith of Shinedown.
Ooh,
Okay.
yes. Anyway, sorry, I love Brent
Okay.
Smith. Anyway,
Yeah.
okay, so if he took to social media and posted a political opinion, either on either side, not saying which
Right.
side, how would you feel about that?
It's weird because like Ryan was saying, to a certain extent, it's okay. But what I've seen on like some accounts, I forget which ones it is, but like this, they were fine. Like, hey, look, music. Once like the fall hit, it's vote. They completely changed their whole platform.
Mhm.
I think that's a little too much out there. Like you are a musician, but you've now become a politician. That's
get
almost
that.
what it feels like.
I get that.
So I think to an extent, you are allowed to express your political opinion. Yes,
Mhm.
everybody should be. However, when you are actively trying to sway your audience into believing a certain thing, that's
It's true,
too
because I
far.
think there's one thing
Yeah.
that says like there's one thing about raising awareness, and then
Right.
there's one thing about saying opinion. Like, so raising awareness about a certain topic, or saying like, I know we were saying we've seen on social media like Leonardo DiCaprio is very into climate change,
Right.
and he's had a stance on that forever. Like he's actually been to meetings and literally is part of associations like that take care of climate change and things like that, and he actually has taken a stance on it and is doing something and not just saying do something about it. Like he's bringing himself to be part of it and be involved in it. So there's that sense too, I guess, too, that are you taking
Right.
a stance other than just saying something on social media? But you could say at the same thing that people will rant about on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter about their favorite political candidate, like say like a friend you're friends with on Facebook and such. Why are they allowed to, in a sense, but
Well,
maybe not a musician?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Yeah,
think
I
it's
see what
that
you're
it's that
saying.
sense of passive like influence. So
Yeah.
John Doe that you're friends with on Facebook because I don't know, he's your dad's college roommate or whatever.
With like 40 followers.
Yeah, with like 40 followers. He's definitely not gonna have the same impact that, whatever Tom Holland or say like Dave Grohl or Harry Styles or all these famous
and those audiences
musicians
are
are gonna
important.
have.
I do want to say too, so like for being a performer and stuff, it actually hurts me in a sense because I have my own political views and I have my own thoughts and ideas, and I sometimes share them on social media. And I know I'm not like somebody that's attracting like a huge audience, like, someone like Dave Grohl or like Harry Styles, like you just said, but I should still be able to have my opinion. So that almost hurts me in a sense, because people will take to social media and they say, music shouldn't be political. And it's like, well, actually, have you listened to
Have
any
you listened
music
to
ever?
most musics?
Like,
Let's list off a couple bands that have
literally
had political
every
influence.
band, because every band
Everyone.
has, because I was talking about this actually in a discussion post in one of my classes. Music it's not just about like love songs and such. People will actually take to write their opinions, write their beliefs, and especially if they're maybe one of their beliefs or opinions is being affected in some way too. They write to get their feelings out, you know? Like you might journal when you have problems, or you might like talk to like a therapist. They're talking to a therapist here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is them writing to get their feelings out, because chances are someone else feels the same way as they do. So that's where I'm like kind of on the line in a sense. But I also get it from the point that people do listen to music to escape real world in a sense. And I get that. But I also feel like you can't stop. It goes back to the line is, can you separate the person from the music in a sense?
Right. Yeah.
And I think that's where, or like, so if we're taking music for that example, I think that's like the biggest point. But it's the same thing with like looking at an actor. Can you separate the actor and their point of view from the work they put on?
Yeah.
Because I don't think you should necessarily say, I'm going to stop watching your show or I'm going to stop listening to your music because of so-and-so's opinion.
Exactly.
And so, like,
and you know, an interesting thing too. So like Mark Wahlberg, everyone knows who Mark Wahlberg is. I would argue that if not everybody, then a decent majority of like the human race knows who Mark Wahlberg is. So he's actually said that celebrities should keep their political opinions to themselves, saying that they live in a bubble and have no real understanding of the issues faced by others.
That's actually a really good point.
It is, right? But it's
but couldn't you say the same thing about political
time.
candidates too? Not understanding, because we could take this and reference it back to the president being in the hospital last week. He was getting the best health care and the best care in general.
And then tweeted, you are going to get me on the rant.
And then I'm fine. But then, because not everybody else has the best health care, some people don't have insurance at all. And people are like, that's why we have so many people that are dying, because they don't have the proper care.
Yeah.
But then they also have like, just, they're not getting the best treatment because they're not the president of the United States.
The odds of this ever reaching anywhere close to President Donald Trump is absolutely zero. But if this ever does reach to you, I just would like to say you do understand that John Doe can't walk into Morristown Medical here in New Jersey and be cured of COVID in like 3 days, right?
But that's also, you could also say the same thing, I guess, about musicians and actors. Are they getting better treatment in hospitals because they have more of a status? But you could also say, no, they're not, because I'm going to relate this to another story that's actually happening right now, or that happened. For those that don't know, we might have touched on it a little bit on the buzz. There's this famous actor, Nick Cordero, who actually was a Broadway actor who was in the hospital for about over 90 days with COVID. They had to amputate his leg because he started getting blood clots. Like it was horrible. And he ended up actually passing away after being in the hospital for a very long time. He left his wife and a kid of 1 year old. And his wife actually Amanda Klutz just actually took to social media last week because she was very upset with the president's tweets, because did my husband not mean anything? Because you say that this is nothing. Did he not mean anything? And he fought for over 90 days. So it's just like, I don't know. So that was me getting into a whole other thing again. But basically the point being, like, not everybody's the same, I guess, in the same respect. Like, you know, people have different opinions, and I get you don't maybe want your music to be expressed in a certain way, but also at the same time, these are people too, and every human has the right to have a say and a voice and opinion. And I mean, there's also the way of maybe you should just encourage people to vote instead of maybe saying your political opinion, because who knows, you might lose more support for whatever work you do as well. And that's also a hard place too. It's almost, I feel like sometimes it's better to just not say anything, like Mark said, because, you know, but you're not putting yourself in the middle.
Some people get like called out for not having,
and that's the other thing. And then it's like, you can't have it both ways.
It's a lose-lose situation.
You know, like I think there's some good posts out there, and there's some that are a little like, I'm gonna share my screen real quick. For your listeners out there. One of my favorite musicians happens to be Lizzie Hale, and a lot of people are not going to know who she is because she's in a rock band called Hailstorm. I thought her post was very good. Obviously it sways, but I thought it was a point that should be made. And I'm going to pull up my Facebook real quick. So she made this whole thing, and I've been following her for years. So I've kind of caught on to her political opinions and such. But I thought this was a very interesting post for anybody that can't see right now. She said, vote against. I'm not voting for blue over red. I'm not voting for my team over your team. This is not a Republican versus Democrat election. This is a good versus evil election. I'm not voting for, I'm voting against. I'm voting against hatred. I'm voting against name calling. And she kind of goes on and on about talking about things. And I think that's important to note too. I don't feel like you should stay. This is a different election this year. I don't think this is like your normal Democrat versus Republican like election. So I feel like I can go on a whole long thing about this, but I'm going to stop myself because I'm going to keep talking. Ryan, cut me off.
Yeah, it's if there's one piece of advice that I will leave at the end of the story before we go to a short break is I do feel like maybe this is in a similar vein. People are very divisive recently, and I think if there's one thing that maybe I would just throw out there, you can call me a hippie or a Beatles lover, whatever you call, but I feel like, people shouldn't be as divisive. It's good to be able to have these conversations. The best example I would personally like to say is here on the Morning Buzz. A lot of our hosts are able to go back and forth and have different opinions and still go get coffee afterwards, and still respect each other's opinions.
Were you going to say a Beatles quote? Because you just said that whole Beatles thing too.
No.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a hippie Beatles. Like, I was going to say, all you need is love, guys.
All you need is love.
But
exactly.
honestly, to kind of wrap that, I just want to say, just whatever your political opinion is, just do your research. Like, that would be the best thing.
Make
like,
sure you do your research.
Do your research because you're going to have different views and opinions of somebody else because you might care about something else more than somebody else. So just do your research. That's what I'm going to say.
Exactly.
I'm going to end that by saying do your research.
So we will be right back after a short break to talk about trick-or-treating in New Jersey.
Woo!
Halloween is on. Spooky
season.
Spooky season is here. Spare ribs. If you've seen that tweet, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
That was a bad segue.
No.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You want to get involved? You like being part of a team? Well, WMSC wants you! Hello! Whether you enjoy music, editing, sports, or news, WMSC Radio has much to offer.
Yeah. Production, engineering, music, and more. Being a part of the teams, you can.
Meet new people, make new friends. Oh, yeah?
Express your creativity. Become an apprentice DJ, and in the future, host your very own radio show.
Meetings are held in the School of Communications and Media, room 1011, Wednesdays at 3:30 p.m.
Sign up today and be a part of the experience. WMSC wants you.
Every day we are hustling here on 90.3 WMSC up in Montclair, New Jersey.
That was such a bad segue.
Listen, I tried my best. In case
it's the charm. It's the charm of Ryan Trick.
It's true. The charm of just nothing but bad jokes.
So
and a lot of coffee.
Though.
Yeah. In case you just woke up or just tuned in, it's the Morning Buzz and it's spooky.
It's spooky.
It's spooky because it's October and also 2020 has been just real spooky in general.
So as a good segue, guys, what was your favorite Halloween costume?
As a kid?
Yeah.
Or just ever?
Ever.
Ooh.
Kyle's like thinking real hard too. He's like
the gears started turning. I see smoke coming out of his ears.
I don't know. I don't have a defined one. I guess. No, that's
so as a little kid, and I mean like a baby, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was dressed up as a pumpkin and I was put in a wagon and my parents wagoned me around the neighborhood to trick or treat. and I was a pumpkin in a wagon. That I don't think I could ever top unless I tried to do it now and got in like the same size wagon. So I
Oh
was just an
no.
overly like thick college student pumpkin boy chilling in a wagon trick or treating. I think I could top it. But other than that, honestly, I'm a huge nerd. For those of you who are listening and know that, heyo. But I like Renaissance Fair. I like New York Ren Fair, and I'm so sad it got canceled this year. But I'd have to say honestly, like the outfit that I am currently in the process, and I mean, if you know anything about Ren Fair, there's no such thing as like ever finishing a Ren Fair costume, really. I mean, you just develop it over time. So the one that I'm currently developing would probably be my favorite Halloween costume.
Kyle, what about you?
I'm bad at decisions, so I still don't have an answer. But I'll say, I forget what year it is, but I think I went as the Terminator one year. I didn't buy a costume. I literally just put on jeans, boots, and a leather jacket, and people gave me candy. So
There you
low
go.
effort, high reward.
There you
I,
go.
I was just thinking back to when I was little, a little bit about some of my favorite costumes when I was little, or like the most pictures I see from when I'm little. There was one when I was Tinkerbell for Halloween, and I went trick or treating in Disney because, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then also, I remember this one, and I know my mom who's listening is gonna definitely remember this and laugh at me for it. There's this picture when I was about 1 years old, I think. Yeah, one, maybe two. And I was Sylvester from Looney Tunes. If you guys know Sylvester and Tweety.
Stallone?
No. No, from Looney Tunes.
Kyle got the joke. Thanks,
There's a
Kyle.
cat. It was cute. Yeah, whatever. I don't need the judgment. Okay. But anyways, as
So-
that was our segue. So
Yeah.
Halloween this year has been very up, like
It's
in
been
arms,
up in the air.
like basically about should people go trick or treating? And I know the Wednesday Buzz had a great discussion about should people go trick or treating this year? Like, what's the pros, cons? Like, what's the situation? Personally, with the current COVID crisis, I would not go trick or treating. I think it'd be safer to go to a party with a few of your friends that you know and you could trust and gather with than it would be to go to random strangers' houses that are going to be giving out candy and you're kind of getting the air from their houses. And I don't know if people like don't like masks and then they may be sick and I don't know.
Yeah. And it's interesting too. The CDC has actually recently announced they're released like a bunch of different kind of like tips and tricks. Do you get it? Tricks. To
I'm laughing so hard.
to Halloweening safely this year and doing trick or treating safely. If I remember correctly off the top of my head, some of those tricks are like putting candy in prepackaged bags and limiting, the amount of kids that can come up to your
I saw
door
that
at a
some
time.
people might put hand sanitizer outside and just leave the
That would be sick.
I know my mom was talking about potentially just so we could still give out like candy, like putting a bowl out and then like just leaving it there.
What if instead of getting like king size candy bars, you just got like little test bottles of Purell? I would so be down for that for Halloween.
You want to give kids hand sanitizer on Halloween?
I'm gonna be like that
would-
old man on the
you'd be
street
the
that
house
gives
that
out like
nobody would wanna
toothpaste.
go
That would
on
be good
Halloween.
for one house, but if every house
Yeah.
did that, then you might as well just not go.
I don't know,
Hey,
man.
I don't know, but I
Free
feel like
Sandy,
parents
I'm all
would
about
parents would join in because they'd want that hand sanitizer.
Exactly.
True, but it's not
No, can you
candy. It takes the
imagine-
fun
Can you
out of it.
imagine if people started handing out like toilet papers?
For Halloween.
Well,
I would lose
you always
it.
had those houses that gave out like things that like weren't candy, like they gave out pencils or they gave out like
That's
random
just
other things.
asking for your house to get TP'd though. If you hand kids toilet paper for Halloween, that's
Well, you
like
want to hand them
saying,
eggs too. You just like
yeah, exactly. It's like you might as well just hand them eggs and some silly string while you're at
But
it.
then you pull a fast one on them. They're hard boiled eggs, so they don't splatter.
Is that you still got to clean them up?
But it's a
How
bit
is that
easier,
a
probably.
fast one? I really got
So,
you.
all right, Kyle, tell me your thoughts.
Tell-
Would
yeah.
My
you,
thoughts
would
on-
you
would-
go
would
trick
you
or
go
treating?
trick-or-treating?
Well, to begin with, I haven't gone trick or treating in a few years. So
Okay, but like, would you go trick or treat? Would you send your kids trick or treating? If you had kids right now, would you send them trick or treating during this?
I think I might like obviously probably put mask on them or something. But in my development, there's not really like huge crowds of people, so that that social distancing thing wouldn't be a
so the
problem.
governor actually said that he recommends everybody like stay with just their family units as they go trick or treating and not gather with like I remember when I was a kid, like I'd go with like a bunch of different people and like go trick or treating, and so I think that's something that definitely could be avoided and that could be easy, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's so anyway, so there's a lot of different kind of factors that go into it. So there are a bunch of different so trick-or-treating and Halloween is on this year. And I believe it was NJ.com actually just kind of released a list of what certain towns are doing for Halloween this year, which is kind of fun. What towns and counties, any specific events that are going on. Right here in Montclair, Essex County will be hosting, and I love this title, a Strut Your Mutt Halloween costume contest for dogs. I am super amped. 9:30 a.m. Saturday, October 24th at Brookdale Dog Park on Grove Street right here in Montclair. As well as 1 p.m. Saturday, October 24th at Branch Brook Dog Park and Branch Brook Park West near Heller Parkway in Newark. And then also on the 25th, 11 a.m., Grover Cleveland Park Pond House at Brookside Ave in Caldwell/Essex Fells. It's like right on the border there. So that's something that we're doing here in Montclair. For Middletown, I believe that's where you are, Amanda, right?
Yep.
Middletown, sadly, for Middle Township.
There's nothing.
No, I don't believe there's anything
Wow,
for
that's
Middle
pretty
Township.
sad.
Well, for Middle Township, there is a Halloween parade that will be taking place 7 p.m. Wednesday, October 28th, marching from Memorial Field north on Route 9 to Ocean First Bank.
Not where I live.
Not near you.
But Kyle
Close
lives
enough.
in Manalapan.
It's true. Kyle does live in Manalapan, and sadly, Kyle, there's nothing going on.
And
near
then
you.
our
most people don't know my town exists to begin with, so I'm not surprised.
Our fact checker today lives in Woodwick, so
Woolwick. Okay, Woolwick does have something. Apparently, Mayor Vernon R. Marino, probably not related to
no, definitely
radio host Amanda Marino, noted, quote, Halloween 2020 celebration is on. So they are doing stuff for Halloween because that's, another interesting thing that we've seen is some towns literally just aren't comfortable with doing Halloween.
Which is fine because I think different areas are
Which is
affected
fair,
differently, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm reading one from Freehold, which is by me, and it says the township declared it will not place any restrictions on Halloween activities. Noting
I
that
think it's also like one of those things where it's like it's one of those holidays too that you can kind of just avoid too if you don't want to be part of it. Like if you don't want to hand out candy, you just don't answer the door. You know what I mean? And I think that's also like, so if you don't feel safe with kids coming to your door because you don't know where they've been, you just don't answer.
There's
the door.
nothing wrong with not answering.
Because people don't answer the door every other year, so it's not like it's gonna be different.
Yeah, exactly. So there is nothing wrong with not answering your door and just staying safe.
Now, Ryan.
One very important thing I want to point out. So it was when the CDC was releasing some tips, they did say, and this is to all the wonderful Karens out there, they did say that a Halloween mask, like a costume mask, does not count. You cannot wear a Halloween mask as a face mask. Amanda, should I say it again? You cannot wear a Halloween mask as a face mask. The CDC is recommending you wear little fun Halloween themed masks.
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about for trick-or-treating or like going into stores in a Halloween mask?
No.
Both,
just
Kyle, both.
So real quick, because we are approaching the end of the show, Ryan, you didn't say what your opinion was. Would you go trick-or-treating? If you had kids, would you send them trick-or-treating? Like, what would you?
Halloween is, I live for Halloween. Fall is literally my favorite season. Halloween is my favorite thing.
If you listened to the buzz on Monday before,
if you've ever heard me
this
talk,
is all
I
of
mention
Halloween
it.
right now. We are in Halloween. We are
It's
on.
true.
It is already Halloween.
It is the 12th of Halloween at the moment. So to quickly wrap, would I personally go? No. if I had kids, I would be very torn. And I feel like because, you know, as a parent, you would want, above all else, you should want the safety of your children, which is what I would like to wrap the show with. Is please, no matter where you lie on this, please, parents out there,
Where you lie on
consider
anything.
consider the safety of your children above all else. You are listening to 90.3 WMSC, Upper Montclair, New Jersey. This has, in fact, been the Morning Buzz. Last I checked, I have been Ryan Trick, joined by
Amanda Marino.
and
Kyle Pepitone.
And we will see you guys. Well, we won't see you, but maybe you can hear our voices next week. And tomorrow, Taryn Philippe. Great show. One of my personal favorites.
Next Monday,
Keep an eye out or an ear out because it's radio for that Mark Weiss interview.
if you're interested.
Yeah, we'll be promoting it on Monday and promoting the heck out of it leading up to it. So we hope you all have a wonderful day,
Thanks for tuning in.
and we'll talk to you next time.